Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Irish Eyes here again. So I found online this old graveyard in Gorey, County Wexford, and it's called Old Clonnatin Graveyard. Now it's very far down, like it's in on farmland, and I've read up online about it that it was vandalised a number of years ago. So I haven't been here before, so I'm going to go in and have a look at this old graveyard and see, was it cleaned up or was the headstones tidied up, and what has been done since. So as you can see, it's down this long lane, country lane in a farming area. So it's very remote, the area, and you can see all around me there. Come in the gate up the top, and it's very hidden away, this old graveyard. So I'm not sure if people actually come here anymore, you know, if they have family members buried here or not. But it's very old, and as I said, it was vandalised. So I'm just going to go down and we can have a look inside and find out how old these headstones are and what the area looks like. So guys, I found the old graveyard, Clonnatin, and this is the grave area and the entrance to it here. So I'm going to go in and see. Now from the distance it does look like it's not in very good state, the graveyard. Wow, this place is extremely in bad state and old looking. You can just see people have been leaving stuff around here, burning sticks and wheels of cars and stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to read these headstones, some of them at least, here today. Oh look, there's a rabbit or a hare running through the graveyard. So there's a lot of activity here with the hares and rabbits. There's crosses here. Look, there's just crosses and markers, it seems to be. And look at that for holes in the old graveyard. Look at that. Rabbit holes. There's a lot of them in the graveyard. So look at these black crosses and markers. So there's just stone markers and a couple of broken down and lying down and bent over all these old black crosses. And maybe this is what I was reading online about the graveyard being vandalised, and it's terrible to think that somebody would come into a place like this, a sacred ground, and just destroy grave sites of people that are interred here. It's terrible. And this is what I was talking about, vandalism. Look at that. Just stones. This was a monument that was just broke in pieces. And you can see the brickwork of it there, where it was vandalised. And the cross is just sitting inside in the hole there. I'm sure this is the tabletop of the tomb. and it was taken off the top of this grave. So somebody, I don't know how they lifted the top of this off the grave, because I'm sure the weight of that alone would be very, very heavy. But I'm going to try and read what it says on it and around the area here. And I can see an age on it there. Aged 8 months, I think it says on it. Died in 1845, aged 8 months. So that's only a small baby that was buried there. And people have vandalised the graveyard, and it's terrible to see. And just look at that old cross. R.I.P. Somebody's just knocked it over. So I'm going to try and read a couple of these headstones that's not broken. And this one's still standing here, and it says Susan Kelly died the 12th day of February 1850 something there, and it's hard to see, it could be 7. John Kelly died the 6th day of July 1871. And look at that lovely design on it. And that headstone is beautiful. And I'm glad that one is not destroyed or knocked over like the rest of them, because that's a beautiful headstone from the 1800s. The ground is extremely bad in here. And everywhere you go, you just see cross upon cross on the ground. This one's still standing, erected by Margaret Sheehan, Courtown Harbour, in memory of her husband Patrick Sheehan, who died the 11th of February 1880, aged 65 years old. Also her daughter Elizabeth, who died the 8th of October 1877, aged 8 years old. Also her son Joseph, who died young. There's some very old headstones in here. Here, erected by John, and it's very hard to read. Now on edit I might be able to see what that says. It looks like Fennel, in memory of his children Catherine and Eliza, and it says died, and the rest is just worn off that. And there's a lovely one here. Look at the crucifix. Jesus, INRI on it. And it says, "Here light the body of Charles." Could be Desmond, who departed this life 1729, aged 82, I think, years old. And then it's Al. Also, I think it's Alphonse.
No, the F is done like an S, or the S is done like an F. So also. J.
ESM, Esmond. I'd say that is the D at the end. His son, aged 87. I think that's Alphonse.
No, it's also, I've seen him dated.
Alphonse James. Looks like an F.
Also James Esmond.
Esmond, his grandson. Departed June 1806, age 80 years old.
course.
And that's lovely headstone from the
The way it's come away from it.
very, very old. And see the way it's broken down the middle of it here. And it's very, very delicate, that part of it, like it could easily break. There's more scenes on this from the crucifixion scenes. They're hard to see on this, they've faded away and broken. You can see a horse on it.
There's the maker's name, D. Cullen.
D. Cullen there. And here lies the body of Patrick Hughes, it looks like, departed May 1781, aged 75 years old.
And Roger Hughes.
Also Roger Hughes departed the 9th of January 1782, aged 38 years old. Arthur Hughes departed this life in June 1778, aged 41 years old.
Mercy on their souls.
Mercy on their souls. There's a lot of headstones. It seems to be just the one area of the graveyard that was vandalised. In kind of one section of the graveyard was vandalised. So it is hidden away down in an old field at the end of a farmland. So I'm sure people came down here in the night time or something like that and just vandalised the place. And just ridiculous really that people would do something like that to an old graveyard and to people's graves. There's a tabletop tomb here and a lovely headstone behind it. Look at all these headstones. It's a very big one there. 1837 on that, I can see. 1826. And I can't see any names on that, guys. Thomas Hayden. So the Hayden family, I'm sure, is buried there. And how these graveyards are forgotten, I just don't understand. You know, the one I did the other day in Rahetsbeck, one, the real old graveyard and the crypt. But that's on the side of a road, so, you know, this one is just way down in the middle of nowhere in farmland. And I don't think anybody even comes here anymore to visit these graves. So I've come across a lot of these abandoned places lately. George Kingstown, in memory of his beloved father John Hughes, who departed this life 1876, aged 93 years old. And there's a load of other family names in that. It's sad to see graveyards like this just forgotten in time, and just, you know, nobody comes here and nobody bothers with it anymore, it looks like. And even the vandalism that was done here doesn't seem to be, you know, nobody has come in to tidy it up afterwards. Maybe straighten up some of those old iron crosses that I see lying across each other, and, you know, and you can see by the crosses they were bent, purposely bent and vandalised. And, you know, a lot of those graves are just marked with stones and stuff. And there's this real old one here as well. Here, like the body of, and the names are coming off, broken away, and it could be John, the 14th of April 1781, aged 60 years old. Also Mary, now that, I don't know, is that Dunn? or Dunphy, departed the 14th of June 1782, aged 25 years old. So another old headstone from the 1700s. (1794). Here lies the body of Kavanagh is the surname, who departed this life in August the 8th, 1794, aged 72 years old. Lord have mercy on his soul. And that has broken away as well, the top of it.
All the markers.
There's an awful lot of markers here, yeah. You can see them all there. Just markers. Some have headstones, but some have just markers on the ground, and just maybe a simple plain black cross stuck on the ground. Now there is something over here I want to look at. I don't know if this was put here at the time of the graveyard was here, I'm not sure. But it looks like a seating area. And this old... So there is steps.
So this would have come.
The other side of this you have steps. So people probably would have came from that field and entered the graveyard this way. And this was probably part of I think this was part of a tabletop tomb. It's one of the legs, I'd imagine. Someone has just left it over there out of the way. But there's the view from around that you can see better. The whole area is just, it's really in bad condition. 1794, this one, age 70, of Martin Murphy, who died in 1794, age 70 years old. And this one seems to be in better condition. You can see the sun on it there, and the crucifixion.
The moon would have been
The moon. And the writing seems to be very well on this one. So here lies the body of John Murphy, who departed this life March the 2nd, 1800, aged 40 years old. So that's those two graves are the Murphy family. You can see bits of monuments and stuff just left on the ground. All markers. And in one area, the graveyard, you have a cross. More rabbit holes. I've seen a couple of rabbits going around the graveyard. Just crosses. Some of them falling over. Maybe destroyed. And it's very sad to see a graveyard like this just vandalised in such a way. It's terrible to see. And all the lovely yellow heather, I think, around the graveyard. You can see it growing in different parts. And Serenity Sue reading one of the headstones. And this grave has a surrounding around it and a headstone. But I'm going to see, can I read the name on it? Erected by Dennis Gorey in memory of his father Henry. Could be Corrigan or Corrigan, who departed this life 1840, age 56 years old. And there's more of those crosses. Vandalised. Bent. And vandalised. More here vandalised. There's famine graves here, Sue was telling me. We'll have a look at that. So this is definitely another graveyard we have to look into about seeing what maybe could be done with this graveyard and tidy it up. And this headstone. Clonatton Cemetery. Clonatton Cemetery.
1550, I'd say.
1550 to 1962. At the what's that say? Going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them. Erected in memory of all who died in this cemetery, or who lie in this cemetery, and especially of those who died during the famine. Unveiled by Dr. Brendan Comiskey.
He was the bishop.
He was the Bishop of Ferns. The 20th of August 1986. So this was erected in 1986 in memory of all the people who lie here in the cemetery.
And especially those in the famine.
And especially people from the famine.
The markers and the iron crosses are probably famine graves.
So how... I can't understand why this was erected in 1986 for all the people who are interred here. And especially the people from the famine.
30 years ago though.
30 years ago, but I mean the old graveyard is... It just doesn't look like nobody bothers with this place anymore. Or it's wild overgrowth in it, and all those crosses just totally destroyed. I mean, there's even headstones underneath. And I'm sure all those black crosses could be people from the famine that were just buried there, that had no money or to put up a proper headstone for them. Like just a big amount of those crosses all in the one area, it seems. You can just see them all. And then there's this one under the trees, and there's nothing on it. There's no inscription on that side.
No.
So that could be just a marker. Someone that was interred under that tree. Just like this marker here. So you can see the area. Now I'd like to get back down there before we go and just have another look at that tomb that was badly smashed up and destroyed. And there's some of the crosses again. More just falling down, broken. Like if this story of Clonatton graveyard was on social media, and the story was online that it was vandalised, and I'm going to have to look it up again because I'm not sure what year it was vandalised. But if they know it was vandalised, and there's a headstone in the graveyard remembering the people from the famine, and people know it was vandalised, it just looks like nobody has come back to tidy it up or to do anything with it. Like, this is just terrible to see. All that stone, look at that. Nobody has come back to put that back together or try to do anything about it. And there's the parts of it that were broken. And there's an 8-month-old. It looks like that's the top of
I think that's the top of this one. And then this one had the cross on
this one had a cross. So on that one there I was reading earlier, it says there was a child buried there 8 months old. So to think somebody could come in here and do that to graves where there was children buried and family members buried, it's an absolute disgrace that people would come in and do that. An absolute disgrace. And I hope you're watching the video, because if you are, whoever done this, you need to be brought back here. And tidy up this graveyard. There's too much of this going on in the country. And look at all the brickwork. And that table top there, I'm sure was lying on this, and it was a fine monument that's now just destroyed in bits. And the graveyard looks like it's just treated like a dump. There's just stuff thrown everywhere, and it's terrible. It's very sad to see, very, very sad. And there's some beautiful monuments here, and it is a lovely, peaceful graveyard in the middle of nowhere that would look great if it was tidied up. And look at this grave. It's just the railing all around it. Stones, white stones. The headstone is metal. Can't see anything on it though, a name. Isn't that beautiful though? And there's some down there, I think, underneath the trees. I want to go down and just see, could I read one of them over there. There's more rocks. And there's a wall in the middle of that, I think. Was that the old church? That must be the ruin of the old church there. In the graveyard. Behind all that ivy. There's another cross that was vandalised. Because there's no way on earth that one of those crosses would be just pushed over like that. It would take a lot of force to do that. So it was definitely vandalised. And as I said online, you know, they said it online, it was vandalised, the place as well. So the committees and people in the area need to come back and really clean this place up and sort this place out. And any of these people, you know, committees or people, groups that want to come together and tidy up these graveyards, I'd gladly come. I have no problem with that. I'll come here, tidy it up, whatever I have to do, fix it. There's a headstone here that's after falling over. Now I don't know if I can try and put that back up, but I'm going to give it a go, guys, and I will put it back up. IHS is in it. And see, can I read it? Mary Connors, erected by Mary Connors in loving memory of her husband, Patrick Connors, who died in 1910, is it? It looks like age 62 years old. So rest in peace, Patrick Connors. And I've put your headstone back up straight and done the best I could to fix it, and I hope it stays back up. So you can see there the holes again, all the rabbit holes in the graveyard. There's even one behind his headstone off in there. And I'll try and read this. Erected by Mary Kavanagh in memory of her husband, Thomas Kavanagh, who died the 15th of December 1874, age 66 years old. Another one that has beautiful designs in it and has survived being vandalised, thank God, underneath this beautiful tree. There's more of the activity of all the rabbits. Look at that. I've never seen a graveyard with so many holes and rabbit holes in it. Just rubbish all around the area. But now looking at those trees, I see tree stumps here, and it looks like they were cut. So somebody must have come in here and cut those trees to tidy up the place, but And there's a cross here embedded in the side of this hill. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? A shamrock. And the Lamb of God and a shamrock on it. So guys, that's Clonatton old graveyard, and it's sad to see a graveyard to be left in the way it's left. And there's a sledgehammer, so I don't know, it's very old,
Come in to try and do something.
it's rusty looking, but I don't know if farmers...
There's a fire there.
See, it's hard to know what is going on in this graveyard. Like, you can see the sticks here that were burnt, where there was a fire, and were they burning the trees maybe that they cut down or what, I don't know.
Yeah.
Old tires and burned wood and rubbish, metal. Now this looks like it's it was made to maybe have like a fire in it. You can see the old grate in it there, the iron grate. Like somebody lit a fire in that. But it's a beautiful graveyard, isn't it? It's very peaceful in here, and there's nobody around. Like it's not near the roads, it's not near the town, civilization or nothing like that. It's just in the middle of nowhere, this old graveyard. And when you walk in the gate, the first thing that catches your eye is just all these black crosses, broken, and stone markers. And it's sad to see. And I'll have to look up the information about the graveyard to see the history of it and stuff like that. But for me, guys, here in old Clonatton graveyard in Gorey, County Wexford, I'm going to say goodbye and take care. And I'll see you on the next one.